Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building a restaurant, which I am very excited about, partly because I think the build is really cool, but mostly because I've been getting a lot of comments saying you guys would like to see more community lots, because it has been, I think, quite some time since I've built an original one. I've done a couple of renovations with my base game renovation series, but like a restaurant or any community lot using all of the packs, it's been a while. So hopefully you guys will enjoy, and hopefully you guys do like this one. If you guys have more ideas for community lots or things that you would like to see, definitely let me know in the comments, or you could always send me a tweet or something, or I get messages on my Patreon page as well, so you could definitely message me there. But yeah, so for this restaurant, I'm building in the modern world of Evergreen Harbor, and I know I mention this every time, but just in case you guys aren't familiar, this particular expansion pack comes with this world, and originally it's polluted and it's dirty, and then through gameplay or through cheats, you can upgrade the world and modernize it. And so I really wanted to build in the modernized version of the world and build something that kind of suits that style. So yeah, I think it just turned out to be really cool. I think it really suits that whole like eco-friendly vibe. I even made a custom menu with, I think, pretty much all vegetarian food. I don't think I included anything that wasn't. So that wasn't my goal necessarily, to make a vegetarian restaurant, but I think for this like eco-friendly sort of like sustainable style restaurant, I think it suits it pretty nicely. And then I used a lot of browns and tans for like the furniture and build items, and also even the clothing for the restaurant staff. They're wearing brown and green. And so yeah, I also included a lot of plants and a lot of items from Dine Out and Eco Lifestyle mostly, but there's things from the Desert Luxe kit and a few other packs here and there. But yeah, I just think it turns out to be so cool, and I was, as usual, inspired by a picture that I saw on Pinterest, so I'll put it up on screen so you guys can see what I was looking at. But as soon as I saw it, I just imagined it being an Evergreen Harbor in the modernized version of the world, of course, and I just saw it as a restaurant. So yeah, it was the perfect inspiration for me. But here I'm sort of trying to think how everything was going to be laid out. I didn't follow the image exactly. The back of it looks nothing like the back of the image, because this time it actually had a back. Normally when I'm looking at a picture on Pinterest, it's from like a particular angle or it's just the front. But this one had like, you know, not all the angles, but it had the front and the back. So it was pretty handy, I think, especially for a community lot, because sometimes I feel kind of lost on what shape to make it, because like a house is pretty typical. Like, I mean, especially with like suburban style homes, like I feel like there's a formula to making them. So yeah, anyways, I wanted to mention here in this dining area, I make a sunken down level. And originally when I was building it, I have the booths kind of like overlapped, and you'll see that when I start placing them. And I playtested the build and it was functioning fine, but I could see that my sim was having a little bit of trouble. So before saving it to the gallery, I do like make it a little bit wider, because I didn't think about this when I was building it, which seems kind of silly because it seems pretty obvious because there's plenty of space on this side of the lot, but I didn't realize it till I was editing it that I could totally just drag it over by one tile and have enough room for two booths to sit next to each other perfectly. And so I just thought that was kind of silly, but I do fix it, and so everything should function just fine, because it even functioned with them being overlapped in like this cramped area. But this is probably my favorite part of the entire build, because I put string lights up, it's sunken down, and I also put these like plant sort of ivy room dividers up, and it looks so cool in my opinion. And then at one side there's the bar, and then there's some like seating areas on the other side, and then a couple of tables surrounding it. And of course it has these really nice open doors that lead to the patio area, and there's a nice little like sunken garden there in the center. And I do place the olive tree that came from my wedding stories originally, and I really love that tree so much, just because the texture on the leaves is just really pretty to me, but it wasn't the right shape of tree, and it was bothering me, so I ended up swapping it out for one that came from high school years in the live edit objects. So you'll see that later on. But here I'm finding the string lights. I end up using these string lights that came from the little campers kit, and I also end up putting the awning that came from the Desert Luxe kit as like a roof sort of in the sunken level, so you'll see that in a little while as well. But over here I have like a little seating area. I figured maybe if you have your Sims out and maybe they're on a date and they're having a good time but they're done eating, maybe they could come over here and sit, or if you just want to meet a friend and have some coffee. Honestly, you could replace the bar for the barista bar that came from Get Together, and I think that would probably suit the style of build a little bit better than the actual bar that serves juice drinks. But I chose a bar instead. But I was thinking about the barista bar. I don't know, maybe I should just build a coffee shop at some point. If you guys have any ideas for which world I should build a coffee shop in, definitely let me know. And I've also been getting a lot of requests on my CC channel. So if you guys are a viewer on my CC channel and you want to see community lots over there, definitely leave me some ideas in the comments on those videos, because yeah, I need some ideas. I've gotten a few ideas so far because I've definitely been getting a lot of requests for it. But yeah, over here is the bar area. At the back of it, I have some drink shelves, and then I put this really cool like planter box there in the corner. And these are the ivy room dividers that I was talking about. So I just put 4 of them around the seating area, and I just think it looks so cool this way. And I really love the way this area turned out. I was like so pleased with it and so proud of it. So hopefully you guys like it as well. And the bars came from the Desert Luxe kit, in case you guys don't recognize them, and they're single bars. Well, not single, they're like 2 tiles long, but I put 2 of them next to each other just to like appear as like a long bar and just to fill in the space nicer. I think I probably would have chose like a countertop to put next to it to make the bar feel longer instead, because there's still only going to be one bartender that arrives. Even if you have multiple bars, there's still only one bartender that shows up, which I think is kind of silly. I don't know, but we don't have any counters that match it, so I decided not to do it that way. But I do put some counters back here, and I used these base game ones that I think are perfect for this particular style of build, because I was trying to pick items that looked more like they were made of reclaimed wood and like sort of industrial pieces, because since this is an industrial town, I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, old factories and scraps and things that could be repurposed for furniture, or, you know, just could be salvaged in different ways. And so I kind of wanted this restaurant to feel like it had been built from the scraps of the town, basically. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. And then over here is where the bathrooms are going to be. There's 2 bathrooms with 3 stalls in each of them, so 6 stalls total. And I put gender specific doors on the bathrooms just to kind of give it that more realistic feel. But of course, if it bothers you for gameplay, you could easily swap it out for the gender neutral ones. And then I had these room divider sort of plant things, and I had too many of them, so I decided just to do walls instead, because I wanted there to be some sort of separation, but like from the entryway to the bathrooms, from the entryway to the restaurant, just to sort of have it be a little bit separate. It's not totally separate, but I think just having those walls there make it feel a little bit more private as you go into the bathroom. But not that it's that big of a deal, but yeah, there I was just changing up the door that I have leading into the restaurant. I felt like the color wasn't quite right. And then here for a moment, I did think about using the stalls that came from one of the packs, but the stalls are just kind of big and they don't fit on the grid perfectly, so they're always a little bit off. So I like creating my own instead, and I just end up copying them over using the room copy tool, which is like a really handy way for placing like the exact same rooms down over and over. And then both of the bathrooms are identical. I used these sinks that came from Seasons, and I used some mirrors that came from Dream Home Decorator, and then the soap dispenser and towel rack that came from Get Together, which I thought was, or not Get Together, from Get to Work. And so I thought that looked really perfect, and I love those objects for community lots just because they're so realistic to have a little towel dispenser and a soap dispenser as well. So it's pretty perfect. But yeah, over here is going to be where the kitchen is, and I also make a little room for the like waiters and waitresses to have a like busting area, I think is what you call it, but basically just an area to put their trash. There's a little station that came from Dine Out that you have to place in your restaurants, and there I just placed them. So yeah, that was a nice little spot to put it, and I tried using those room dividers, but I don't know, I felt like it was too much, so I just put a door instead, and I think that works really nicely. And I thought this one was actually pretty perfect. It came from Dream Home Decorator, and the brown color for it was just really nice in my opinion. And then over here I do have a couple more seats, and I was thinking maybe if you're not wanting to sit down to have like a full meal, but you don't want to sit at the bar, you could come over here and sit down and have like just some coffee or a drink or an appetizer or something, and then quickly be on your way, but you're not like in the like more quiet, relaxed restaurant area. It's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a weird spot to have some tables like right by the kitchen, but maybe there's some Sims that would want the like noise of the kitchen while they're out to eat or something. But there's just a couple of tables there. And there I did place a couple of items in here. This room is pretty like sparsely decorated. I don't add a whole lot to it. Just because I really didn't know what I wanted to add in there, and I didn't think it was totally necessary. I more just wanted that room to be functional, basically. And then this is the kitchen, and then for the kitchen you don't need a refrigerator for a restaurant to work, or a like stove. These like chef stations. I'm not sure what they're called exactly, but that's all you need for a kitchen. So I just put some counters in here and some decorative items just to sort of fill in the area and make it not feel empty. And again, using these ones from base game that look more industrial and reclaimed, like the back of the bar area. And then I end up swapping out that large window that I have leading out to this outdoor patio area, just so the Sims weren't like staring right into that part of the kitchen while they're eating, because I do want to put a table right there. So I end up using the same window, but in a different shape that I used on the bathroom. They came from Snowy Escape, and I like them because they have like the screen, so you can't actually see into them, but they let light in, and they give you like the illusion that there's a regular window there. So I thought that worked out pretty nicely. And then over here is going to be the outdoor dining area. I used the awnings that came from the Desert Luxe kit again, which I thought looked really good out here. And I just put a few tables, and I copy over the same tables that I use on the interior, but I use them at a lower level. These are the bar height ones, but I wanted to use them at like a regular chair level, so I could use these eco lifestyle chairs because I thought they looked pretty perfect. And I also thought these plants that came from the, I think it was the werewolves pack, actually looked really nice out here. They look like just very, I don't know if handmade is the right word, but they look like they've been cared by a Sim. They've been planted in these little bags. They've been woven around these sticks so the vines can grow up them, and they just, I don't know, look so imperfect, and I really like them. And then here at the front, I do have, well, I have some heaters scattered around just because I thought it might get cold here in Evergreen Harbor, but I put a few dining tables out at the front, and then I also have like a little fire pit area, and this was directly taken from that image that I was looking at, but I use the couches that came from Eco Lifestyle because again, they like suit that style perfectly, and I just put a little table in between them, and I just think it looks so just cute and just another nice little hangout spot for your Sims if they're not really into sitting at a table anymore, but they still want to be here a little bit longer, because they can't just sit anywhere they want if it's connected to a table. You have to like request the table and properly sit there and do the whole restaurant interactions and everything. But yeah, for the landscaping, I just used these base game live edit objects planter beds just because I thought it suited the world a little bit nicer and made it feel a bit more like commercialized and planned and everything. And then I just put a tree in them, and I think one of them I put like a agave plant, I believe. Yes, it's pretty simple, but I do like it. And then at the top of the building on the roof, I do put a few things that are supposed to look like vents and air conditioning and those sorts of things. So I thought that would look really nice. But yeah, here I'm swapping out the tree just because that one just, it wasn't right. I don't know. It was just blocking the sign too much, and it just wasn't the right shape basically. But I thought this one actually looked pretty good, and I think it suits like the rest of the trees in the world, so it doesn't look too out of place and everything, but it still has a bit of a different texture and color to it. So yeah, I thought that looked pretty nice. And then here I'm just adding another awning on this side of the build, and then I'm going to add the final few details, a plant over here, and then the details at the top of the building. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and like I said, if you guys have any more community lot ideas, I would love to hear them in the comments. But I hope you guys enjoy the screenshots. Thank you so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
This love has never been stronger. I'm up in the clouds when you're around, but when you're not, it's getting much harder, and I'm falling down, down, I'm falling down. I see your face on all of the pages in the scrapbook of my mind. To put it down for a while takes ages. Then I'm falling down, down, I'm falling down. I'm thinking of to wave goodbye. I know it's crazy, but I can't help it. When I'm falling down, down, I'm falling down. I'm thinking